polypeptide epithalamin, which is produced normally by our body. So we normally produce this in very small quantities. It was discovered in the late 1980s by a Russian scientist named Vladimir Kavinson. Okay, and one of the things it does is regulates the metabolism of the pineal gland. Now, the pineal gland is often referred to as the third eye because it was mysteriously thought of as the part of the brain that connects the physical world to the spiritual world. All right, but now all that voodoo talk aside, the pineal gland controls the various biorhythms of the body and works with the hypothalamus gland, okay, which directs the body's thirst, hunger, sexual desire, and, this is the important part, the biological clock that determines our aging process. Okay, so if I'm claiming that this is the fountain of youth, that must mean things have lived longer, correct? Yes, let's go through the trials. So why can it make us live longer? First of all, in the animal trials, the initial tests of epitalon made fruit flies live 11 to 16% longer. Now obviously that's at the very beginning when you're doing fruit flies, all right? Then mice lived 24% longer. It improved immunity to diseases in rats, and then it produced anti-carcinogenic effects. So basically, it prevents cancer. It stimulates antioxidant defenses, which of course that eradicates free radicals and the shit that gets us sick. And it restored reproductive function in old rats. So old rats apparently became dirty young rats, all right? That's good. Now, okay, fine, rats, mice, fruit flies, what's that got to do with me? Well, let's keep going. So in humans, it did everything that it did in the animal trials, and it increases the length of our telomeres. Now, why is that important? Because telomeres protect the end of our chromosomes from sticking together. They're like protective caps. It's like the little plastic thing on shoelaces. It keeps them from degrading faster and makes sure that they don't stick together, so everything gets all jumbled up, okay? And as cells carry out DNA replication, the chromosomes are shortened. They get smaller. It's like when you make a copy of a copy of a copy. That 10th copy is a pretty shitty copy, right? Because it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, okay? That's important. So when your telomeres get too short, the cell dies because it can't replicate anymore. The copy is so bad that it cannot replicate and the cell dies. Now this effectively shows how old your body really is. So that's the length of your telomeres. So there's like a service. It's called, what the hell is it called? Teleyears. And you can subscribe, get a kit in like 23andMe and that kind of thing. And it'll actually tell you how long your telomeres are. And how long the telomeres are, that's how old you really are. I don't care if you're 30 years old. If your telomeres say you're 60, your ass is 60, okay? So you can also help shorten the length of your telomeres by doing stupid shit like smoking, getting fat, stuff that's bad for you. So epitalon actually increases the length of those telomeres, which in turn gives us many more replications before they die, which effectively and absolutely makes us younger, okay? So there was a 12-year study in older people, 12 years. And this was a human trial. Now, not only did epitalon restore the cognitive abilities of the elderly, it regulated their cholesterol and it improved their immune system. But allegedly, according to the study, it gave them 7 additional years of healthier life. They lived 7 more years than the people that didn't take this, the control group, okay? So, I mean, seriously? Okay, so there's a service, like I said, called Teleyears. Again, like 23andMe, Ancestry.com, that sort of thing. But it tells you how old you are by measuring the length of your telomeres. So here's a guy that used a service for Teleyears. He sent a sample in before he started epitalon. And he got a sample again after 8 months of dosing epitalon. Okay? So as you can see, and I'll put it up on the screen, he originally was 53 years old, and his telomeres said he was 56. Not a good sign, right? So 8 months later, after he took 3 cycles of epitalon, in which he did 10 milligrams a day for 10 days, then he took 1 month off in between, then he did another test, okay? He was 54 years old at that point in time, and his telomeres came back with the same telomeres, came back and said he was 37. Now, tell me that's not remarkable, okay? So now many of you know me and you know how I do stuff. So you know where my teleyears package is. Yes, it is in transit to my house right now. I will be doing the test. I will be sending it in. And even though this is research chemical and I do not recommend that you do any of that shit, I don't know. I'm going to see what it does, okay? That's just me. Why? Because even better, there's no negative effects to epitalon. Nothing has been shown as a negative with this thing. Nothing, okay? So always do your research, but this compound's been around since the late 1980s. It's shown numerous benefits in animal trials and human trials, and it also has no known side effects. Okay? And while the human studies showed epitalon increased life expectancy, it should be mentioned that this control group stopped taking it. Now, nothing says you have to stop taking it. So the question is, how long do you think you could live if you continued to bring epitalon into your medicinal protocol, right? Okay. So, here's kind of the weird thing too. A lot of times I look at these peptides and like this guy dosed what, 10 milligrams a day? Wasn't it 10 milligrams a day for 10 days? Right. And they sell them in like 2 milligram vials. In 2 milligram, that's how they come. So you would need 5 vials a day for 10 days. You would need 50 vials. Now, that's from like Puroz. I mean, who's going to buy 50 vials? That's just crazy. Now, I have seen from other places where you can get 100 milligrams of epitalon. Okay, now that makes more sense, right? So you just don't know whether it's fake or not because there's so much fake shit going around. But anyway, I want to hear anybody have a problem with this one. And that's about it. Now you know. Questions, comments, suggestions, put them below. And remember, you are never too old to live like a Viking. Until next time.